Welcome back to the Two Promises podcast. Let's dive right into another exciting adventure with BD and crew as he pursues his new passion of one day finding the most epic bourbon. The Two Promises team send their special thanks to Hobie and the Huckleberries for their masterful theme music. So grab a glass, relax, and enjoy responsibly.
Baby says she's leaving if I don't stop drinking wine. So I switched to whiskey, now I'm feeling fine. Drinking that smooth, smooth whiskey. No more wine. I like straight bourbon. Baby, you try the ride.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am very excited to introduce a very special guest again for our show. We have Dakota Wortman. He is a fellow veteran. He comes from the information side of the job, MOSs, if you will, and he is a filmmaker. He's recently put out a feature-length film that won some awards, and I'm really excited to get into more detail with him. But before we go down that road, I want to send it over to Mr. Wortman and have him just kind of introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Dakota Wortman. I was 25 Bravo in the Army for about 6 years. I deployed to Afghanistan once, in Shindan, and yeah, I was an IT specialist, so I was doing uh, satellites and talk operations and stuff like that. So it was a wild ride. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, and I became a filmmaker right after I got out. So
Whenever I was just kind of like a little, maybe a touch point background on me a little bit, whenever I was originally joining the Navy, I was hoping to go in as a photographer's mate,
oh
which was kind of in the whole, film photography realm. But there was like, oh, it's going to be I don't know, a year and a half wait before we can send you to boot camp because it's such a small rate and it's very,
wow,
very, a lot of people are wanting to do it. So if you're wanting to kind of, go in earlier, um, pick a different rate because I was trying to strike for the SEAL program. Obviously, even way back then, that was kind of the goal. And photographer's mate was one of the source rates that you could go into, and a rate is the Navy's version of an MOS.
yeah,
So I was like, oh, I want to do that. And like, oh, well, it's too closed off, so pick something else. So that's ultimately where I ended up going corpsman. But I was interested, even from a very young age, in filmmaking. A lot of my school projects in high school, if I could find a way to make it into making a movie, that's what I was doing. So it's another reason why I'm super excited to talk to you and hear about your experiences of actually living out that dream.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, see, that would have been a really cool job to take in any military. As a as some kind of photographer or film or something. Yeah, that would be insane. That would be super cool.
Super cool. But information tech, I mean, I was deployed and man, we relied on all of our communication specialists so much. I mean, there's so many moving parts, so many different systems that have to talk to each other. So you were truly invaluable, and I know you helped out
It,
the unit you were with.
whew, it was a busy job. You're
Uh-huh.
running around like with your head chopped off, trying to get things up and running for either talk operations or even just training and stuff. You have 72 hours to set up a whole network for a whole battalion, and it's like, oh my gosh, you had like 4 or 5 guys working on it. That's it. So,
Wow. Wow. And what size are your guys' battalions?
hmm, uh, I am I'm not entirely sure, but I could probably say there was about 300, 400 computers that we had to re-image at one point. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it
That's a
was
lot.
yeah.
So cool. That's definitely a very much needed skill, and I know we relied on them heavily while I was overseas. And I know that if you're not talking to people, you're not doing anything safely. So,
Right.
so were you always interested in doing film, or is that something that kind of happened later in life?
That's kind of something that happened later in life. After my 6 years was up, I tried finding all kinds of IT jobs or anything from uh, in Seattle because I was stationed in JBLM, and I tried doing Amazon, being a cloud support associate. Uh, at first, they said they needed a clearance, and when I was halfway into the training, they decided you actually needed a top secret, and I didn't have a top secret. It would have taken a year for me to get my top secret, and yeah, that was kind of disappointing because it was going to be a pretty awesome job. But I had to move forward, so I had to, I moved to Texas, right back to Texas, to be closer with family, find a job in IT. Couldn't find one. They needed like a degree or more certifications or stuff like that. And I had to get something on the spot. So I became a security officer for a short bit. And
Okay.
that that was about 6 months. And during those 6 months, I had a lot of thinking to do. What I was gonna do, what was my next step for me and my family. And I decided, you know what? I forgot. I have, schooling I could do, and
Right. Yeah, you got the GI Bill.
exactly, and I was like, I told myself I'm never go back to school. I hated school in high school, and you know, my dad was the inspiration though. He actually started cinematography school back in the '90s. He never got to finish.
Okay.
So I was like, me and my dad growing up watching movies, we had this special bond together, and I was like, you know what? Let me take interest in it and see how I like it. I went to school for film and I absolutely fell in love with it.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So, I imagine it's considerably challenging. So, kind of along the same vein as you, my story's fairly similar actually. Um, I came back and I was still planning on staying in the military, but a series of unfortunate events occurred and
They always do.
right. And ultimately I ended up not being able to reactivate for orders due to some misdiagnosed medical conditions and some paperwork that was uh, improperly filed.
Oh, yeah.
So it prevented me from being activated until all of that was cleared, even though I had all these units that were wanting to pull me back on orders full time, back to active duty. Um, but I digress. I was taking some odd jobs. Kind of like I said, I worked concrete. I worked at a tire factory, just trying to make sure I had insurance coverages the best I could because things were a little sticky mess.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I do have my GI Bill too. So why don't I just see about dipping into that and going back to school? And I recently finished a bachelor's degree. It was mostly online. Um, but I wasn't ready because I was unhealthy. I wasn't ready to go into, like, say, a master's program or something that was very research intensive,
Yeah.
and the school had a blacksmithing program. So, I was interested in blacksmithing also whenever I was in high school. I somehow managed to get the basic equipment and, like, do some basic forging, and then I found some mentors eventually, but I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna apply to that college. They have a blacksmithing program." Little did I know it was a fine arts degree program. So it's probably just as heavy, if not more heavy, in all of the other fine arts mediums. So
Yeah.
whenever you went to film school, did you find that to be the case as well?
It was kind of interesting for me, because first off, you go to the army or you go to the military and you come back, you're a little older than you're used to, and then you see like kids who are like 17, 18,
Mhm.
they're always late to class. They're always, or we have a project and they're always procrastinating. And I'm like, I want to get this like perfect. Uh, so it was heavier than I thought it would be, but it was a lot more fun, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Uh, until COVID hit, obviously. COVID hit and everything was like online, and
Yeah.
my first class that was online was cinematography class, and I want to be a cinematographer, and I
Mhm.
was so upset. I was
Oh,
so
no,
upset
yeah.
about that because I wanted to
Yeah.
do that on hands-on. I'm more of a hands-on guy,
Yeah.
so uh, that 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 kind of disappointed me, at least, you know.
Yeah. So did you have to do, like, other art classes? Did you have to do, like, intro to drawing? Did you have
Oh
to do,
yeah,
like, pottery or, like, sculpture or things like that?
yes, yes, we did. We had to do like color theory, and we had to. I had to take an animation class, which is the first class that I failed because that was hard.
I
But
bet.
um, what else? I mean, we there were so many classes that was so random too. But I love the film classes, like script writing or camera movements or whatever. So it was fun.
Cool. Yeah, so then it sounds like we've got some similar things there too, because it's like,
Yeah,
"Oh, yeah, I'm going here to work with metal, but, oh, now you need to do printmaking and you need to do glass,"
exactly.
and I'm like,
Yep,
"What?" And like you said, it's fun, like, I was it's out of my comfort zone, it's not what I'm, like, normally used to doing, but, man, I have been really enjoying all of my courses. It's been really great,
that's
so
awesome.
that's
Yeah,
cool that you had a similar experience. Okay, so you're specializing in film, you're wanting to be a cinematographer, and you're going through the whole COVID thing, and it was kind of a little bit into COVID. COVID was kind of opening things were open back up whenever we met.
yeah, definitely. And they still continue to do online courses afterwards. So they kinda did a hybrid almost. So
Okay.
my last year of schooling was, like, 2 online classes and, like, maybe 2 or 3 online classes and then 1 in person, um, and it still looked like a ghost town, and, the craziest part about getting my degree was I got my degree, and then, 3 months later they gave a week's notice to all the students that every single school was gonna get shut down. So, I am so lucky to graduate with my bachelor's and, not have to restart everything I worked for. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. So they were gonna week's notice, everything was gonna shut down, and would that have how would that have just held up your graduation, or would that have, like, "Hey, it's not an accredited or, a recognized school," or
it was the arts.
transfer and, like, have to get partial credit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, see, I don't know exactly what happened to all the rest of the students, but I know, I remember a couple of my friends are like, "They just gave us a week notice," and some classes, obviously, they don't transfer to other colleges and stuff. So
Man.
I can't even imagine
Yeah.
restarting or trying again or that because that's 4 years right there.
Dude, yeah, that would be awful. So when did you graduate?
Uh, let me see. It was actually 2023.
2023.
Mhm.
Cool. So, yeah, I think that was kinda feel like that was around the time we met. We met
Yeah, it
on
was
the, Dear Mom
Dear
music
Mom shoot.
video
Yeah.
with, Shannon Book and Christopher Martini.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I see. I love that Christopher Martini is like a hub, right? He's the one that brings everybody together, and he is a phenomenal guy. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited for he's putting out a cinematography course or a filmmaking course
Oh, I'm super
online.
excited for that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be so much information. I signed up, I'm on his waiting list, so I'm ready to
Same, same.
dive into it. So you've done some work outside of that, obviously. I kind of feel like you were in school whenever that was going on. I could be wrong. Um,
I
but
started my first feature film.
yeah,
My first feature film, The Cowboy Capital, it started before 2023. So I filmed and edited the my first feature film, The Cowboy Capital, uh, in 2023, but it started beforehand, and let me explain. I actually had a project in class that I had to do for, it was like a documentary class, and they said, "Do a 10-minute short documentary about some historical piece about anything." And so I decided to go to my old hometown, Bandera, Texas, and I went to like the travel center and all that stuff, trying to find someone who would be willing to talk to me on camera, explain some history of Bandera. Well, they sent me over to the Frontiers Time Museum, and that's where I met Rebecca Norton, and she requested me to speak to Roy Dugash, and he's one of the first. He's one of the descendants of the first settlers of the Polish settlers there in
Okay.
Bandera, Texas. And he usually does a lot of cowboys on Main Street, and he dresses up like a full-on cowboy, and he was willing to talk just like that. So he gave me that 10-minute documentary video, and I got an A on that class, and I ended up putting it on YouTube. I got about 52,000 views on it,
Wow.
just randomly. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, okay. Uh, and
There's
that led
something here.
to exactly, right? And so that led to like the history of Bandera Part 2. So we shot in Blanco, Texas. We did a couple other interviews and stuff like that. Um, and then that led to our Polish producer, Artur, and he called up Roy and said, "Hey, let's do a feature length film," because he wrote a book about Bandera.
Oh, cool.
And, I was then Roy called me up, said, "Hey, I got this guy. He's, very excited. Um, he wants to film, like, a feature film for, Bandera. He loves Bandera so much," right? And, I was like, "Alright, I'm down." And, we shot the film in 10 days,
Wow.
25 interviews, and I edited the film in about 6 months. And that was while I was still finishing up school, and I had my 3rd child.
Oh, wow.
So it was
Yeah.
a wild ride in 2023.
Super busy time.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so let's kind of talk about that a little bit. So you had a book about it, you have a bunch of interviews. I mean, it's I don't know, I could be wrong here. I'm just kind of spitballing. It sounds pseudo documentary-ish. So did you do like a conversion from that book, like whatever that book was, and turn like a book into a screen
So,
script?
kind
Or
it's kind of, very similar to the book because, Arthur is he was kind of, doing his research years before, and he knew all these people. He's talked to all these people, and then he wrote it, and his book is in Polish, so
okay.
can't really read it, but he
Right.
he he knew what to ask, like what questions to ask, and all this because he already interviewed these people personally on a personal writer's level,
Cool.
and so he was able to help direct the film, interview these people, and because that was my first time meeting each single person on the spot, setting up the camera and everything. But it was really interesting, honestly. It was like a uh, what do you run and gun kind of shoot, you know?
Yeah. Cool. So, I mean, I bet you got so much out of that experience.
I did, and a lot of learning curves. I know by like day 5, we were all cranky and tired.
Right.
Um, but it was so much fun, and listening these people, it was it was such an experience. Very heart touching and draining all at the same time, if you know what I mean. Um, but in a good way, in a good way,
Yep.
not a bad way.
Yep. It's
But
like, day that you know, gone on a really cool hike and seen a lot of stuff and like you're drained and exhausted, but you're also like very fulfilled.
exactly. Oh, perfect. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Cool. So that's super exciting. And I know as a result, you got put in for some awards, and I knew you did some traveling to show the film, to talk about it. Can you tell me about some of your travels?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It took me to Poland, and this is the first time I traveled overseas that wasn't Afghanistan. So,
Okay.
so that
Cool.
was a way better experience, if I could, say so myself. Uh,
Absolutely.
so me, Roy Dugash, and Artur, we we all we all met up in Poland and stayed for about 10 days as well. And we showed our film in a theater, and that was the first time seeing my film in a DCP on a screen, a packed theater house, had a bunch of a lot of journalists, people coming over, and it was just an amazing experience. And I'm not gonna lie, the first time seeing my film on a screen, on like a real movie theater screen, uh, had me emotional. I had
I bet.
my kids were in the film. They dressed up like little cowboy and cowgirl,
Cool.
and seeing their faces up on the screen just was super emotional to me.
Man, that
Uh,
is so cool.
yeah, it was absolutely amazing. And then we took the film, like traveled to Bandera's sister city, Rosemere's. Hope I'm saying that right. Uh, and I got to experience such the nicest people I've ever met, and they took us around, showed us around. They gave us a place to stay. They fed us. You know, they gave us some of the best beer I've ever had.
Nice.
It was such an awesome experience. And we actually premiered our first time premiering our film. This was the nerve wracker because I've never showed film in front of like my stuff in front of a huge audience before in my entire life until the the 11th Street Cowboy Bar up in Bandera, Texas. So we got like about a 25-foot, 30-foot inflatable screen, had about 300 people there. Um, and it was nerve-wracking. I am not gonna lie, I was, like, tweaking out.
Did you have to do a lot of the setup for this as well? Like
I
setting up the
did.
screen? Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah,
yeah, everything's got to go right. You got all that pressure too.
exactly, make sure that the audio wasn't bad and make sure the picture wasn't bad, because it was on a projector screen. It was like on a projector, but it was on a beautiful summer night. Everybody laughed at the right cues, everybody was crying at the right cues, and as a filmmaker, that's, like, the most beautiful sensation, you know?
Yeah, man. To like, cause you're putting them on this emotional journey, and to see it just hitting and just being like,
And seeing their reactions, that's the best part. Oh,
"That's awesome.
it was so cool.
That's so awesome." So this is after you went to Poland. This is kind of doing like a tour domestically in the United States.
No, that was before.
That was before.
The premiere was in 11th Street Cowboy Bar. That was a few months before we went to Poland.
Okay. And I think you went up north to Chicago or somewhere near Chicago.
Oh, I did. Yeah, the biggest Polish festival in the United States, and that was the Taste of Polonia up in Chicago, and it got to premiere in a 100-year-old theater.
Whoa.
It was super cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a food festival. So I have to ask, would you say that this is perhaps the first pierogi Western?
Pierogi?
Yeah.
Okay, so well, I took Archer, I took my dad, and Archer and Roy, we all drove up there, and it was really funny because I asked Archer because this was before we went to Poland. I asked him, I was like, "Hey, does any of this food actually like real Polish food, or is it all westernized?" And he's like, "Nah, you got to go to Poland."
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. So I think if it's not the first, it's at least the most uh impactful pierogi Western that's ever been made.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's
Uh,
awesome. Yeah. So how was it? Did you try the Polish food in Chicago and in Poland?
I did. Actually, I enjoyed both. I the Polish food in Chicago was really good, but when you go to Poland, there's something about their food that is just, oh my gosh. Even their gas station food is way better than our food.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
they have, like, these, sausages wrapped in, like, this, like a bun, and it's, like, super fresh, and then you put mustard in it. It's like a sausage on a stick, but with, like, a bun around it. Oh my gosh, I can't even explain to you how me and Roy were just devouring those things.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And
Yeah,
of course, Archer in his home, he made us some delicious meals all the time. So,
cool. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about traveling is just trying all the different food.
oh yeah.
That is super cool. So you've got the Cowboy Capital and feature length feature film. You've done an international tour with it. You've done a domestic tour. You've won some awards. What's on the horizon for you? You got any other projects you're working on, or
Yeah,
what's
so right now I'm in the middle of doing all the paperwork for distribution. Um, so I'm not entirely sure when that's I should be done with all this, sending them all the materials within a week or two actually. I just don't know when it's gonna drop in people's living rooms yet. But sometime this year, definitely. And so once that drops, I'm going to start working on two mini documentaries that I filmed last year. We went on a 10-day travel to Utah, California, um, for two two amazing human beings that we got to interview. One is Matt Clark, and he is a disabled artist. He creates like these 10-foot statues, metal art and all this other stuff. So he talks about going through depression and going through like how to get out of the hard times or how not to get out of the hard times. But it's definitely an amazing story to hear. Um, we also have Clint Malarchuk, who is a former professional NHL player, and I don't know if you remember or not, but 1989 on national television, he got his neck slit by uh, a,
oh,
a
yeah,
blade on
wow.
national television
Oh,
and
wow.
almost lost his life. So I got his story on camera, and I'm excited to put these two people together. So
Yeah, man, that'll be great. I'm excited to check those out once they're done.
definitely.
Wow.
So
So,
I'm really excited to start doing those projects. I know they're going to be super impactful. Hopefully, that's my job.
yeah, right. That
So,
sounds like it. So, do you think overall, you went to school for this, you know, went through the educational process. Do you think that they did a good job of preparing you for being a cinematographer, being a filmmaker, and being able to put a whole feature together?
definitely. It helped me, I guess, through a perspective, especially through all the projects and stuff. It was more trying to get hands-on experience, such as go out there and do that mini documentary and see how you like it or see how you could do. And
Mhm.
then it did so well that I ended up doing, definitely some uh, what do you call it? Technical aspects of filmmaking. But it was more hands-on experience. It's going out there and shoot. That's the best way to learn. So,
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great. And with that experience, whenever you were in the middle of it, in the grind, working on it, was there something that came up that you're like, man, I wish I would have known that or done that whenever I first started with this project?
oh, all the time. Yeah, whether it's a different shot that I could have gotten, or oh, I wish I shot more B-roll, or you know, um, of this certain thing, but at the end of the day, you just try to make it work. You do what you got to do, and as long as you can create something awesome, just do it.
Yeah,
Uh, you're always going to make mistakes. I think you're always going to learn something every time you're shooting something new. Uh, how to react to people and how to, because I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not the best director at all. um, I've tried my first. It was actually my senior project. It was a short film. It was a psychological thriller
nice.
that I did, that I wrote myself and everything, and I had to direct myself, and that was out of my comfort zone. I'm not entirely, the best of it, but I had a whole bunch of more people to work with, and it was just, I guess it was just so out of my comfort zone. I don't feel like I did really good on it. Um, but I had wonderful people who helped me, and so it was such a fun experience, definitely experience. So
That's cool, and I mean, I think that's a big part of the journey is just getting in there, knowing you're gonna make mistakes, rolling with it, learning from it, you know, and I mean,
right, yeah, exactly, and learn, and try to make the next project better.
yep, take those lessons learned, roll them forward. Um, what advice would you give to somebody just starting out?
Just shoot.
Just
Just
shoot?
shoot, and don't worry about expensive equipment. I know I did. I started worrying about that when I first started filming. Uh, just go out there and practice lighting, and your angles and your movements, and getting down, um, just your eye. So practice makes perfect. So, or practice makes imperfect. I don't
Right,
know.
however that one goes, for sure. Cool, good stuff. Yeah, and so, like, with the equipment, I mean, it seems like a lot of times you get wrapped up on that, you think, "Oh, I need the best of the best starting out, I need it to be perfect, I need this, that, and the other." But, I mean, if you're new, I mean, just getting started lets you get the experience with it so you understand the functions a little bit better, so you understand what one product brings to the table that another one doesn't, and why you might wanna upgrade at a different point, and then you know exactly, "Oh, this is the one that I want."
Oh, exactly, 100%. I mean, the camera that I have right now, I mean, that thing is, 2017, 2018. Maybe it's pretty old, and I've shot so many things on that deal, and, uh, obviously my dream is to get a cinema camera soon, uh, but, I practice a lot with that thing, and it's more about lighting. It's more about how you write your story and how you uh, edit, and how you present that to the audience.
Awesome, so you've got almost a decade on this camera. So what's the dream baby upgrade that you're looking at?
Probably a Sony FX 30 or FX3. Uh, I can't remember if it's an FX. See, this is the dyslexia in me.
I
But
hear
it's
you.
about like a $6,000-7,000 camera. You know,
Hey, cool. And
yeah.
then, hey, you've used the other one for a decade, so you know you're gonna get plenty of use out of this one. It's
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
well worth the investment.
Oh,
Cool.
definitely, and to be able to upgrade and see what I can do with it.
That sounds super exciting, man. I'm super stoked for you. Can't wait to see you behind that fancy new camera and just rocking it and all the awesome productions you're gonna put out.
Thank you.
So that about wraps us up. Before we close it off, I do want to send it back your way. See if you have any final thoughts, and also where. Please let my audience know where they can find you and find your
Hon
work.
Honestly, I don't have, I mean, I have a YouTube channel, Dakota Wortman, or, uh or Facebook. Follow me on Facebook on Dakota Wortman, and then, I'll send up updates about the Cowboy Capital always, or any of the new future coming up films. Yeah, I don't really use Instagram much. I probably should use Instagram more. Everybody uses Instagram, but yeah, just Facebook or YouTube, and I'm always gonna update everyone there. So
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been awesome hearing about your experience and all of the all of the work that you've done and making that Cowboy Capital the international cowboy sensation of 2024, 25, whatever it came out.
right,
Yeah. Was
thank.
2024?
It's yeah. Well, it's probably gonna be considered 2025 now.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh, so that's all
once
the
it starts
pre-release
streaming,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Ah, I got the behind the scenes. I like it. I like it.
definitely.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited for you, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks for coming on.
Of
I'll see
course.
you soon.
All right.
Thank you for joining us today on this curious roller coaster of life. If this is your stop, please exit peacefully. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you're ready for another one, just push play. Just a final note before you go, thank you, and thank you for feeling. The distillation and aging process is different for everyone. I'm not quite sure what you're ready for. Sip slowly and enjoy responsibly.
Baby says she's leaving if I don't stop drinking wine. So I switched to whiskey, now I'm feeling fine. Drinking that smooth whiskey.